Welcome to the bottom of it with your host Joshua Moriarty.
Hello, good day everybody, how you doing? Welcome back. Been a little while since my last potty ep. Good to be back. Potty ep. Podcast episode. There we go. Sorry it took me a while. I was in the UK making a record with my best bud, Moriarty. Our project together is really starting to take shape. So we were tracking everything for the album over there. It was a blast. It's sounding awesome. Very excited about it. Excited to share it, but still a wee way away. There's just always so much more to be done. We've got everything recorded, but now I've got to think about what needs to be erased. She needs to think about what needs to change. All of that anyway. We'll get onto it. I'll share it with you when it's done. Also got the final masters of All the Colours Volume 3. It's all done and dusted. Very awesome. Very happy about that. Sounds legit, if I do say so myself. Very chuffed. We put out a third single from the record a few weeks back called Tear It Down. If you get a minute, check it out. Like and subscribe. Thoughts and prayers. All that bizzo. All right, on to business. Today's episode is with Australian artist Ainslie Wills. Now, I'm a very big fan of Ainslie's. I think she's a total badass. Love her music. She's got an incredible voice, but not only that, she knows her way around a chord progression in a song. She's an excellent songwriter. Music moves in interesting ways that I totally dig. She's a musical explorer, I would say, and that is something I always admire. She isn't afraid to take things in different directions. Now, we met about 2 years ago, I think it was, at a APRA songwriting workshop in Sydney. And her and I and Ben from Miami Horror and another producer, Louis, we got thrown together for the day. We tried to write a pop smash that none of us ended up using. We talk about that in the podcast, actually, how those songwriting sessions can be kind of funny like that, chasing down pop bangers that no one even ends up wanting to put their name on. We also had another day together at the same workshop working with Frank Titaz, who I've had on this podcast for the long-term listeners. That was a fun session. Ainslie and Frank and I, we got to play around a bit more and went for something a bit more left of centre. And it was at the same songwriting week that Ainslie wrote her single Society with some of the other talent at the workshop there. Now, Society is done very well. It's an excellent single, and it was voted one of the top 5 APRA songs of the year recently, and that's a peer-voted thing, which is quite the honour. So, yes, we sat down just recently at my place in Melbourne, had a good old catch-up. I hadn't seen her since those few years ago when we met, and it was a blast to have a chat. Ainslie's super cool, find her very interesting, and it was a breeze to talk with her. She's very honest, which I admire, and isn't afraid to talk about anything. It was very, very open. So what do we talk about? We discussed the role of a producer, talk about letting go of expectations of what your music will do in your career, where your career is going. We talk about waiting for inspiration versus fighting your way towards it, which is kind of what I do. We start off talking about Nick Launay, who was the last guest on the podcast, just as a heads up so you know what we're start talking about once things kick off. So here we go. All right, ladies and gentlemen, without further rambling, it's Ainslie Wills. Enjoy.
What was he like as a personality? Like, was he quite...
He's cool.
Yeah?
Yeah, he was great. I'd never met him before. I'd heard a lot about him because I had a friend who made a record with him years ago.
Yeah.
And, yeah, because he does all the Nick Cave albums and Grinder Man, and, yeah, he's done the years. He was telling me about being there when Phil Collins did the drum. Yeah. He was there for that because he started in 1979 or something as a tape operator in some studio in England, and then kind of became a mixer, producer-y dude from the early 80s straight into it, and then was just bluffing his way through. Did a Kate Bush album then.
Holy shit.
Yeah, he's done heaps of stuff.
I didn't know he worked with Kate Bush.
That's
cool.
He's done everybody. It's mental. And then he was telling me he's booked at the moment and for the next year with records that he's just working on.
Wow. That's awesome.
He's a bit sad about how there's not as much money going around anymore for artists and producers and studios and everything.
Yeah, it's really changed. Real fucked.
But did you ever know it to be any different to this? I only know it being hard and like this, yeah.
Well, yeah, it's true. I don't think it's that different, but it just does seem that every second person is now a musician or a producer in their bedroom, and
That's the
uploading
one-
shit all the time. And
That's the one that I was talking about with Tony Buchan, who I was mentioning earlier about everyone being a producer. Because he's helping me with some of my new solo stuff that I'm working on.
cool.
And he's an amazing producer, a legitimate one who grew up using, mixing desks and proper studio, all of that.
Yeah.
And then now when I'm working with him, he's like, right, we need a harp on this. I'll call up the woman I know who's the harp player. And then he arranges for the harp person to come. And then he arranges for the drummer to come in. Like that kind of producer who can not only technically can do everything, but knows the people to call to come to the session, who can get the job done really well.
It's like a palette, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. And I guess that's what I think of still as a producer, not just someone who made a song on Ableton in their bedroom.
And I think it will always be the case that you can't trump, a producer's personality, like someone that's going to bring out the best in you. Like, for example, my friend Matt Redlick, who did our last EP, I know that working with him will produce a very specific kind of energy in a specific environment, and a good environment. And I could not get that by myself. Like if I decided to I'm going to produce my own shit with Ableton.
Yeah. How much of that did you do before you went to go see him?
A fair bit. Like we demoed quite a lot, but in terms of I suppose my point is that you can't, in terms of finding someone that you connected with that knows their shit, that can get a result that you want.
Of course.
Is it's always going to trump you doing it yourself, or a shitty kind of producer that's, you know what I mean?
If you're out there, shitty producer, we're
Yeah.
I guess it's just quite a bold thing to label yourself that maybe people aren't thinking about as much, the sort of weight of saying it. It's kind of the same when I would have people at the pub or at the at the JB Hi-Fi or something that would tell me, oh yeah, I'm a musician also. And okay, tell me a little more. And I play a little bit of guitar. I'm like, don't know if that quite makes you a musician.
You play C and G. And
Yeah, exactly. We made some muso. Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Not saying that they're not, but it's a little more to it, maybe.
Totally.
I think,
But people just want to jump on that
yeah.
bandwagon, don't they?
I think Mark Maron or Joe Rogan, one of those guys, was talking about it on their podcast of people calling themselves comedians or talk, and just they're like, we've been doing this for 20 years. We are.
Yeah.
And some of you, I don't know if you're quite.
You don't get to call yourself a comedian. Yeah.
Yeah. What's happened in the last 2 years since I saw you? Plenty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot.
I feel like you were sort of crossroads, turning point, not sure how you felt about the biz or music or all of that when I saw you last time.
Yeah, good memory.
Yeah.
I think I'm still...
Does it ever go away?
No. I think, after that point, I think I was traveling. I was doing a UK tour with Keen. Remember that band? Keen? And
that's something only is that Keen?
Yeah.
Is that a good song?
I love that song.
Yeah.
I actually really love that song.
Do they have any other good ones?
Yeah, they do. But I think the experience, when you kind of, because going overseas was kind of like that next, to play music, was that next kind of thing that I wanted to do with my music.
Right, you hadn't really done that before. Okay.
Nah. So it was kind of, getting all your bits and pieces together to kind of make this tour work, which we did over the last kind of, since I saw you, I think we did two UK tours.
Right.
And some writing sessions and stuff like that, which is
Cool.
cool. Yeah, it was cool. But I think doing that kind of, doing that and then coming back here and then realising that the climate in Australia in terms of, I don't know, touring and that kind of thing is not necessarily feasible from my kind of, it's not that it's not feasible, but it's not something that I've done a lot of in Australia or could do a lot of unless we're doing regional centres and all that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, but I think the whole experience of going over, feeling like, do I want to be doing this or not? Has definitely stayed with me. But I think I've just let go of the expectation of what any of the music will do. I think prior to that, I've just been like pushing. It's going to do this. Being really ambitious.
Thing's going to happen.
Yeah, like being super ambitious, but putting so much expectation on what will happen. And now I've kind of let go of that a bit more.
What did you want? What was it that you wanted to happen?
I wanted like sustainability.
Right, rich and famous.
No, not necessarily famous. Rich, yes.
Rich, yes,
No.
Always.
Sustainable.
No one wants to be rich, just off.
Yeah.
That's all.
Just enough to get,
Just a new Audi.
Just a new Audi or two. But yeah, I think I wanted to create sustainability to be able to keep doing it and not have to do anything else.
Mm-hmm.
That was my goal. So it wasn't like, it wasn't, to me, that wasn't that far away. It's not, as in I've created a sustainable practice, but maybe, no, if I'm really honest, I think I wanted more than that. I think I wanted more than that. Or I saw a trajectory of like, that's what I'm going to be. And I was following that, I suppose, if I'm really honest. But
thank you for being honest.
Yeah, it's good. It feels good. Just purging. But yeah, so that in the last 2 years, it's been like, okay, well, this is where I'm at. Uh-huh. I'm wanting to, like, first and foremost, create good work, and in lots of different contexts, like, writing with people or for other people or for myself. But I'm sort of just removing myself from it being needing to be anything but kind of what you were saying before, in a way, like you're wanting to work with
just
people that
friends,
you like,
people that I like,
yeah, and enjoying the experience. Because if you don't have that, which I started to really not enjoy what I was doing because it was so outcome based. It was kind of like I have to sit down and if I was writing something, I had to put so much emphasis on walking away with something that was really great and tangible that I just started to hate it. I really did. I was like, this doesn't feel like music should feel,
I'm trying to wonder if I reckon I'm in between where it torments me a lot.
Yeah.
I still enjoy it.
Yeah.
But it's definitely maddening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. In what ways?
My obsession with it, I suppose. No matter how many songs I've written recently that I think are decent or that are going to find a home and that have come together, I always want another one.
Yeah.
And I can't ever rest until there's another one.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not about them being like smashes or being famous or anything necessarily. It's just actually my obsession with songwriting.
With good craft.
Yeah. Just wanting to keep going.
Which is cool. Like,
it keeps me moving,
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah.
I'm a psycho in that way, like I was talking to you about earlier. It is having, like, things are coming together.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is it. Well, I was talking to another friend of mine. Do you know that band I Know Leopard? Do you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, Luke.
Yeah, I love those guys.
They're awesome. I know.
Yeah.
I interviewed Luke the other day. I've been friends with him for years, and I've seen him from his old band as that band transitioned into this band, and he's maddened by music. Yeah, he's been driven crazy and is obsessive and all of that, and it's like, does it bring you joy? It's like, seems like it sort of does, obviously, like once it gets done, but I don't know. Maybe there isn't.
maybe it's just you've got to have the yin and the yang.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I think that there's definitely something to be said about creativity being born out of, like,
frustration and desire and all
like,
of that.
Imagine if we had all the resources in the world and could make whatever we wanted. I don't know if the creativity would necessarily be more, forthcoming necessarily just because you've got more resources. Maybe, I don't know. I've often thought about that.
Do you write any happy songs?
It's funny you should say that because I haven't in the past at all, but I've went through a huge Stevie Wonder phase in the last 12
He's
months.
always happy, kind of, isn't he? I mean, no, he gets a little forlorn about
He gets a little bit,
about humanity, maybe.
yeah, bit
But-
ballady and a bit,
But generally, he's pretty up.
yeah.
Wow.
So, I obviously he's an artist that a lot of people, he's a very mainstream kind of artist, and I've always loved him, but I kind of really tapped into kind of that happy feeling because I was really craving it. And now I'm not necessarily writing Stevie Wonder style tunes. They're still not that, it's like super happy, but I'm definitely writing with more lightness,
Okay.
I think. And it sort of ties into what we were talking about before, I think, because I'm letting go of what it needs to be. Like, it doesn't need to be anything but what I create in that moment or.
Do you have to keep remembering to let go a lot?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Like, it's a definite process of being mindful.
Mm.
Being mindful and having to practice doing. I've been trying to get into the routine of doing like improvising and sing like on the piano where I'm singing just gibberish or whatever and playing some stuff just so that I'm practicing getting in to some kind of playful state where I'm not kind of putting the critical mind into it, like where I'm not closing off the ideas super quickly.
Yeah, I know that's terrible.
Yeah.
That's like telling your child that they're stupid because
Yeah.
they can't speak properly yet.
Yes. Yes. It's very damaging.
I know.
Very, very
I
damaging.
know.
Yeah. So I think, it is about cultivating. Well, I feel that, you do need to cultivate that flow.
How did that come about more for you? Did you go through a big life transition? You were reading more books about it. You had a breakdown. Was there anything that kind of...
I definitely feel like this is kind of a very esoteric thing to say, but and I don't know if I can pinpoint it in a way that's going to be like super clear, but I felt like I've been shedding skin in the last couple of years, and so and it is tied into that feeling of like I'm not necessarily enjoying what I'm doing as much anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And why have I felt like I'm coming to, I don't know, there's a lot of things that have influenced me feeling this way, and because it might be like me thinking about, oh, well, I'm, mid-30s, I should be doing this, or having this kind of life, or, why isn't that happening for me? Or
This is what your FOMO song's a little bit about.
Yeah, and society to a certain degree,
Mm-hmm.
So I think those things definitely played into my generally feeling like just having to reflect on what I was doing and whether I was enjoying it, and like this, if this is, I'm getting towards this point in my life, I'm wanting to do something that's really connected, that I feel really connected to, because music's always been something that, that connects us in some way and our connections, our individual connections to music is so different from person to person, but I always, crave that sense of connection, whether it be through a piece of music, learning a piece of music, working with a producer that's really kind of, on the same level as me or whatever. But I think I'd lost a lot of that. It was almost like I'd lost my compass a bit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Like
it.
my northern star. I was just like a bit numb and a bit like, because I'd been kind of going against maybe what I would naturally do musically. Reason why I brought that up is because I think all the reflections, reflecting that I've been doing the last couple of weeks, but beyond that, I've been sort of this time has been coming for a while.
Yes.
So and I think I just recognised that a lot of my personality is I like to, I'm a people pleaser.
Okay.
Yeah.
Where did that come from? Your parents or something, or?
Yeah. Yep. My whole family's like that.
You're
actually.
all people pleasers.
Yeah, to a certain extent. So if I was, in terms of coming up against strong personalities, I wouldn't necessarily be able to hold my own very well.
Mm-hmm.
And so I've recognized that. I'm quite judgmental. So I feel like
Aren't we all?
I think we are all. We are.
A lot of it we just keep in our heads, though.
Yeah.
And we feel bad for doing it. There's
Yes.
a bit of that. But
I think you need both. You need both.
Yeah.
But I think the reason why I felt like my creative spark or my feeling of connection with music had gone is because I'd lost myself. I'd lost my identity.
Yikes.
Yeah, which is like, I say that and it seems like I'm saying it really flippantly, but it was a very kind of real kind of.
I think I sensed that when I met you from what you were telling me anyway. Not
Yeah.
like in terms of your entire identity, but I guess musically you seemed like you weren't quite sure exactly what it was that you wanted to do or wanted from it.
Yeah, and I remember in that session with Frank, like
Mm-hmm.
him, it was actually that was a really good session, even though I don't know what happened
Frank
to that
T.
song.
ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
The infamous. The one and only.
Yeah, he was a legend.
He
But
may be expensive, but at least he works slowly, I think is his motto.
yeah, is that
Yeah, that's what he says. Yeah, he'd say that to you if he's here.
Oh, I love that. But what was really great about that session was him recognizing that it's like, or him kind of giving me confidence that I didn't need to kind of settle in on one, because I think I was in that session going, I don't know if I want to do this kind of music or would it be this kind of artist or whatever. And he's like, you're just an explorer and that's cool. Like, just keep exploring. And
Yes, definitely.
that was actually really kind of a good shift in my mind, thinking like, why am I trying to kind of fit into a specific kind of trajectory? Why do I feel a need to do that? And it's because, there's people that have come before me that I look up to, I suppose, and then I'm like, oh, that's what I kind of see myself doing. But every path is completely different. And yeah.
I remember a Rolling Stone article that I read years ago, and it was, they got famous artists to talk about other famous artists, and Marilyn Manson was talking about Jim Morrison. And he was just saying, sort of like, yeah, Jim Morrison was the best Jim Morrison, and he inspired me to be the best Marilyn Manson. And it's just this thing of like, you've got to just be the best you. You can be inspired by other artists, but use that to make yourself more you.
Your own person,
more so than them.
Yeah, you have the outline. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's definitely something to be said about that. And I think for some people it's very innate and very kind of natural for them to be
like Billie Eilish, this young
Yes.
girl who seems like she's just appeared with all
Oh
this
my gosh.
spunk, and
she's amazing. She is amazing.
I don't know too much about it, but I've heard a song or two and seen a few things, and I get it. Like, whoa,
Strong.
you know who you are, so young as well. It's incredible.
Yeah.
Hopefully it doesn't get twisted and warped any. We'll see.
Yeah.
And maybe she'll be fine. You have no idea.
We don't know. We don't know. We hope she'll
for the
be all right.
best, yes.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think, I don't know, we've kind of gone.
It doesn't matter.
I feel like
that's what we're here for.
Yeah, that's what we're here for. That's true.
to ramble. You
Yeah.
finally figured it out. You're ready to go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like I know that music's always going to be something that I do and that it's a part of my expression but now I'm not so concerned with what it does outside of, in terms of from a commerce point of view, like.
Yeah, I know. I guess one of the hardest things at the moment is being able to see all of the numbers and statistics and the amount of followers and the amount of plays of every song, and
Yeah.
so you can really see how not well you're doing compared to other people.
Yeah.
Which didn't really used to be there in the same way. But that
No.
extends so far into just ordinary life with, like people's photos and Instagram and everything is driving us all a little bit crazy.
Yeah, I think, isn't it Instagram and maybe Facebook, like they're limiting the amount of likes you can see on the post now, or there's some changes that
Are they trying to make people happier?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, and it's come from then. I was like, that's pretty telling, actually, that they're kind of concerned about how people are interacting in that way. But yeah, they're gonna, so that you're the only one that can see how many people have liked it, but from the outside there's a cap.
Okay.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, it's interesting with Spotify showing the number of plays for everything.
Yeah.
There's no fooling anybody.
No, and
And then people judge you. I do it and I don't mean to, but I'll look at someone's thing and go, oh, they're not doing very well because they don't have that many plays of that song.
We all do it, don't we?
I know, and I don't want to.
No.
But more so, you're just doing it to yourself.
Yeah, true. It's a reflection of your own mind and how you think about. Yeah, totally. But it's the world that we're in, and I mean, there's some great in terms of Spotify. I think, I've discovered some amazing musicians through Spotify, like that I would never have found. Like, I think there's a lot of people in the beginning were very anti-Spotify, and to a certain degree, I was like, yeah, what is this, and what is this new thing, and then I feel like it's actually, if only they'd kind of changed the percentage in which they give their artists.
So someone told me that 90% of the royalty goes to the owner of the master. So basically the record labels.
Yeah.
And then the songwriters are getting the sort of 10% or whatever. I'm not sure. It maybe makes sense to me because I haven't made that much money, and I feel like the biggest thing I've done has been with Miami Horror, and that was with some labels involved. So I feel like they've taken the bulk of it. Yeah, exactly. Because I guess they owned all of the rights to so many of those. My friend's mum's in Bananarama.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, Siobhan Fahy. She's got this thing called Shakespeare's Sister as well. They had a big song.
Oh, my God. I remember that.
Yeah, they actually just put a new song out that they just worked with Nick Launay on. That's kind of how it all came about for me because I'm friends with Sam Stewart. Yeah.
Doing stuff.
Yeah,
that's cool.
And that's really cool, the new Shakespeare's Sister stuff. But she was telling me that big Venus song. So I mean, Venus is a cover of "Shocking Blue," I think is the name of the band.
Oh yeah,
but
as in Bananarama's
cover. Yeah, it's a cover of an earlier song from maybe 5 or so years before them. But they don't own any of the master because the record label just shafted them, so they don't see a cent on that song. You get nothing. So the songwriters will obviously get a bit from the other band, and then the label or whoever owns the master might not even be the label. It could be like some dodgy manager and that's what used on like the leg shaving women's razor
I was
thing.
going to say it's still
going
you
hear
strong.
it all the time. And yeah, she's singing it, but she's not seeing a cent.
Man, that sucks.
Yeah, that really sucks, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I guess maybe don't sign record deals in the 80s.
Well, yeah. And I mean, yeah, good
yeah,
advice.
good advice, right?
Yeah.
Have you come across anything dodgy like that? People trying to shaft you?
Nah, I actually have been really, really lucky.
Okay.
And I've maintained my independence in terms of labels and stuff like that. I've just distributed through AWOL, and they're awesome.
Oh yeah, that's one of the people who puts it everywhere.
Yeah.
For you.
And they've been awesome. So yeah, no, I've been lucky in terms of that side of things. Like, haven't signed any full-on deals or anything like that.
What does APRA do with the song like Society? Because they kind of helped you guys get together. Do they try and take a cut? I don't feel like APRA's like that. They're so nice.
Not at all. Nah, they did nothing but try and just lift it up, put it on a pedestal. I think they were just, because it was made at Song Hubs.
They must be so proud.
I think they were. I think Millie was pretty.
Oh, they're so lovely, all
that. I know, trying to do such beautiful things for musicians. So yeah, I think she. They just tried to kind of give it as much airtime as possible in the channels that they knew.
Yeah.
How to do that, and I was like I was saying to you before, it's just one of those freaky songs that no one expected to come to life, but it did. And yeah, it was awesome. And there was always this kind of feeling that I had of like, maybe I shouldn't be the one to release it.
Yeah.
Because, you know, in terms of the kind of song that the potential that the song had, which I felt like wasn't just me going, this is a good song, or Mozilla going, this is a good song, but people outside of me.
They could have given it to someone, a bigger artist potentially, and reached more people.
Yeah, and I did have that thought. I was like,
Yeah.
maybe that's a way to go. And then I'm like, but it's the thing that stopped me was that it was just such a personal, like such a time that I was going through that I
Yes, of course.
I couldn't imagine anyone kind of singing that. I just felt like it was weird to palm it off to someone going, I don't know. Yeah, if it was something that I was less personally kind of involved in from a story point of view, I'd be like, okay, I would feel less precious about it. But I was like, fuck it, I'm going to do it. And I'm glad I did it.
Yeah.
Because, you know, it's my story. It's part of my,
Yeah, of
my
course.
story. And
Especially with everything you've just been saying and how you're feeling at that time. It sort of seems, very poignant, and
yeah.
it's obviously connected
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah, but you know, your mind goes, oh, you should just kind of give it to someone else. But I didn't.
No, you don't.
didn't.
Keep it for yourself now.
Yeah.
That's the thing. I'm so that's what. Yeah, when we're walking to get the coffee before, that kind of songwriting, chasing the big dollar kind of thing that so many people have done in those writing rooms, and trying to write pop smashes and palm them off to Rihanna, and just thinking that something's gonna. It's like, fuck off. I'm so tired of it. So boring.
I know. There's a sea of it happening.
Yeah. Dodgy beats and auto-tune and just was weird. Yeah, these weird songs that, and people are really good at it. I know. And I don't want to have a go at them because some great stuff has come from it, and there is something we all love a great pop tune. You know,
absolutely, yeah. And you've got to be flexing that muscle all the time, like. In terms of writing, I reckon.
Yeah.
Writing pop stuff. I did a second song hubs. So it was kind of mostly these electronic producers and pop writers and stuff like that. And all of the writers around me, like really young, great writers, were just kind of busting out these banging tunes with big beats. And like, I'm sitting there going, I still haven't finished the first part of the song that we started this morning. You know what I mean? Like they had a showcase at the end of the day, and it's like everyone showing, you know, what they did in the one that we did together. And they were like, "So what did you guys come up with?" And I was like, "We didn't get there. We didn't kind of have that." Well, I certainly didn't have that muscle.
You were slowing it down for everybody.
Right. I was snail pacing it all the way through that session, just wanting to do something that was really, really good. But then, you know, part of your little brain, your little insecure brain goes, but I want to be really good at writing pop stuff really, really
it's like wanting...
and,
it's like wanting everyone to find you attractive, even if you're not into them. You still want people to like you, even if you're not interested in them. Just so you can turn them down.
Yeah,
I know.
Enough.
I definitely know what you mean with that kind of pop song thing.
Yeah,
I sort of I know my skills in those sessions and what I can offer, and then
which is good. And obviously you've done a lot to know that. I think that's something.
Yeah, I guess so. I guess I have. Yeah, there was a lot of them. That's what when I was talking about LA. You know, I probably first started going over there because the Miami Horror guys moved over there about 7 or 8 years ago.
Yeah.
So I was going over to play shows and work on songs, and I guess just that whole writing thing was really seemed really new and exciting then. You know.
Yeah.
Like 5 years ago or something. And so we did a lot of it, and it was fun. It was just like, come around to my studio, and we'll come around here, and everyone working together, and there was this invigorating moment. But now it just feels like it becomes so inundated with it, and everyone's caught on. It just seems like it's lost its luster a little bit.
Yeah.
Or maybe I think I've just probably grown out of it.
Yeah.
To be honest, yeah.
Yeah. You've wanting to explore and expand in a different
I
way.
think it's just working with people that you're close with and building on those relationships and connections rather than having to keep dating lots of new people. It's just to date the people that you already know that you like.
Yeah.
It's just, I've been on a lot of those. It feels like a bad date, some of those writing sessions, and you're looking at the clock waiting for waiting for it to end. And then they message you the day after going, that was great.
That was one of the best. It was
so good.
Best sessions I've ever done.
Sorry, I'm heading away for the next few months on tour. I'll message you when I'm back. Maybe we can do it now.
Not going to happen.
Not going to happen. So
you could argue that. I wonder if like the percentage of songs that made the light of day from some of those pop kind of writing sessions that you're talking about. Like, it'd be interesting to make the comparison between, say we started doing writing sessions here with people that we just really like and love making music with, and to see whether there'd be more success of like songs seeing the light of day from that kind of more pure kind of
I guess maybe it's not about purity necessarily. It's just about, say if we were to do that, I think the key is to try and write for the artist and the artist and knowing what their sound or style is so that it fits. Because a lot of the time in those ones where they just pop everyone together, it's just like write a song for the sake of it, but it doesn't even have a home that it's going towards. So if we were inviting people in, it would be like, right, we know this type of music we like. You invite someone who's like-minded and you create something that fits into your world a lot more. So it would probably make more sense. But
no, I know what you're saying. I think I've been wanting to do more, like, you know how we were talking about the LA thing before and how there's so much emphasis on going over there and becoming a writer or like, learning the craft more. I think I want to make Melbourne the place that people...
Same. That's why I'm moving back.
Yeah.
And now I've got my studio out the back where we looked before. It's going to be great. So if you'd like to do it...
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
I know. I want to do that too. I feel like we need to build a new collective of people working here, and not to say that there's shitloads going on here at the moment, but getting your own gang of friends and cool people together. And
because I think it's like just, I feel like musicians need a little bit of infrastructure and a little bit of a like nudge to like, I feel like I've had so many conversations with writers, like musicians, writers here going, oh yeah, I'd love to write with you, or I'd love to, not with me, like whoever, like I'd love to write with this person or work with this person. And it's kind of like, I don't know whether it's a social barrier or whatever, but I feel like a lot of the times it's all talk and no play, nothing actually kind of comes together unless there's those, few things that you push for, like we were saying before with your personality. You might just like... you're pushing for stuff to happen or wanting to bring stuff, you've got a confidence maybe in the way you approach stuff that means that shit gets done. But I think a lot of musicians kind of maybe either are scared or I think this is blanket generalization, maybe more reflective of how I sometimes feel, is that I need a bit of a nudge to go, oh, so there's this session and, the start time is this, end time is this, here it is, go for it, like just a little bit of kind of...
Yeah, I wonder if it's something about just this part of the world, Australians or, the Americans are a lot more forthcoming
bold,
and confident and not pushy is maybe not the right word, but confident. I think that's probably got a lot to do with that. Yeah. In Melbourne, I haven't felt like it's been the friendliest of music communities at times as well, because it can be very... competitive because there's not as much to go around for everybody. There's a little bit more standoffishness. Yeah. And I would really like to try and make that go away.
Have you found that in like a live
I think I haven't noticed it as much recently, but I remember when I first moved here in the first sort of maybe 5-10 years of being here, just I think it's maybe, but I wouldn't necessarily say it's Melbourne. I just think that people at I don't mean this to sound arrogant, but like when you're still sort of scrambling to get that, more people to your shows or to get played on the radio or to have the thing that ignites your band.
Yeah.
There's more of a like standoffishness and competitiveness. And then I noticed once I joined Miami Horror and it started doing well, the bands that I would meet at the Australian music festivals and everything, everyone was quite friendly because we would all sort of got out of the muck and the mire. We were actually like, look guys, we did it. And we were all quite happy. There's still a little bit of shit talking behind each other's back, but not too much. And I feel like everyone was quite friendly, but in that scrambly level. Yeah, exactly. And I think that probably exists in music industries in different cities around the world. It's just that point is tricky for people because everyone's a bit poorer and like harder up against it, and it just sort of makes for more tight.
Pushing shit up a hill.
Mm.
Yeah. I think it is changing. I think that's been my experience anyway. I know exactly what you're talking about, and then I've experienced sort of moments of that back in the day, like back when I started performing this material. But I feel like now there's more. I think there's more accountability going on. People are having to be more accountable because of their behaviour because of social media. I know we're a bit more exposed or something like that.
Definitely.
But
that's true.
And more transparent about what's going on. So therefore, there's less room for shit to kind of go down. I think it's moving in a more positive direction for sure. People are a little bit more friendly, a bit more willing to kind of wear their heart on their sleeves and be embracive. Embracive? Is that a word? Willing to embrace.
Yes, I know what you mean. Yeah, sure.
Yeah,
it is today.
Yeah, willing to embrace people more, like less competitiveness, maybe because we realise there's a collective thought that we can actually do more together in harmony.
But then what about the extreme outrage at the moment as well? It's a funny one that kind of coincides with all of it.
Outrage, the social...
Yeah, it's just like some of the name calling and the outing of people is so extreme.
True.
Like you make a mistake, you have to lose your job. And
yes, true. There's the other end of the spectrum.
But maybe there's not that many of those people. They just have a really loud voice.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
I don't know. I'm not sure either, but I think like anything, there is always going to be good and bad points of
course.
Of change.
What do you, this is one of my podcast classic questions, is does music offer to the people of the planet? What does it mean to you? What are we doing? Are we just selfish narcissists fulfilling our own egos? Or are we giving back?
Totally giving back.
Okay.
Totally.
You make me feel better, thank you.
Yeah.
I struggle with this.
I just think that, the ability that music has to transform people's lives, like we know it from our own experience, but of listening to music that we've loved and that spurred us on to do,
of course,
the next thing. And
I guess it's funny sometimes having to believe that you're giving that to others. There is like some sort of narcissism in that part, and that's where I struggle.
Totally, and I know exactly what you mean, but I also think that like if it comes from a really pure, when I say pure, I just mean good intentioned place. Like if your intention is to like create something that's good, and you don't always sitting there necessarily going, I really hope that people feel, this way when they listen to the song, but you're more hoping that, I remember watching a Jeff Buckley interview ages ago. One of the few that exist, about him talking about why he does what he does, why he did what he did, and it was just like he wanted to give back to the community what he'd been given, which I feel like, that's probably the same for most musicians. Like that feeling that you get when you connect to music is magical, and I don't think we're all sitting there going, yeah, this is my next song's going to make all these people feel really magical and connected and inspired. But it's kind of like a little bonus when people do, even if it's like one or two people going, wow, this song really changed my, like I've had people reach out going, my dad was going through really full on time with PTSD. Yeah. And this specific song that's not related to anything that I wouldn't have necessarily connected those two things together. But, this song, for whatever reason, made him feel a lot better. And you're not always guaranteed those moments of connection.
No, of course not. But it's
cool.
Nice when you hear it. Yeah.
It is, yeah. I just think that if there's the language of it is way more powerful sometimes than just conversations.
Mm. Where do you sort of pull it from? Is there like a place you tune into? Where is it? Is there a river that's always flowing of,
mate, it's just
of inspiration, and you just grab the bucket and fill it up?
Oh, yeah. Don't have enough buckets to fucking catch all of the creative. No, it's really different. I've kind of, in that I write cathartically when I might be feeling a particular way, and I'll have to sit down and write something, express something, jam something out. And so that, that's probably the most kind of organic form of songwriting, I think, for me. And then I might be sort of inspired by something external to me, like someone handed me, like my musical collaborator Lawrence and I have been working together for a long time.
He's the gentleman playing the guitar on the Running Scared live where you're on the piano in the living room.
Okay. Yes, yeah. So he would, often make, little instrumental tracks and stuff like that and give them to me, and then I'd react to that musically. And
yes.
So the writing was a bit different because it was an external idea coming to me. I wasn't connecting to it necessarily emotionally straight away or cathartically, but it would spark something in me. Mm-hmm. And often, completely different songs and stories would come out from writing that way, which is why I think, the collaborative process is so cool, because you never know what you're going to kind of walk away with. So, in terms of where, writing, how I write, I think those are the sort of two distinctive ways. Is like something that's coming external musically that gives me some ideas, and then the first one I was speaking about, which is like more just feeling like I need to have a good old cry or a good old play, or
it is usually out of anguish. I haven't had them out of joy in quite the same way.
No, neither.
When you're happy, you're too busy being happy.
Yeah. And so why do I need to write a song?
I know.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think if I've got any happy songs.
Yeah. How do you write? Like what's your...
Similar way, definitely. When you're feeling feels, sit at the piano, whip the cooey out, have a strum.
Yeah.
But I also go beyond that and just sort of do it even when I'm not feeling it, just because I like to work as well and just push through.
Great.
So a lot of it. Yeah.
Yeah. So
but I won't write lyrics in that way. I'll come up with melodies and things and sort of like, right, there's the rough chords and the rough melodies, set it aside for a week or play it, a few times during that week and sort of get it a bit more formed. iPhone record all of them, obviously, like as a little voice memo.
Yeah.
And then go through them later and see like which ones have got legs and then jam them with all the colours or with somebody else and then sort of see which ones are the runts of the litter or which ones are going to survive. But just never stop doing it. It's just
Wow.
continuously, yeah.
And so
going.
when you the feeling of going beyond the enjoyable, like, you know, you said you kind of push beyond. Do you feel like that
Sometimes it yields amazing results.
Yeah,
yeah. It's funny.
it makes sense?
It's just, the more you gamble,
Yeah.
the more you win. Hang on a second.
All the gamblers out there, keep doing what you're doing.
Keep gambling. But it's, sometimes it's the fourth thing that you come up with. Once you've kind of given up, then you're like, oh, why am I still doing this? Because then you're not trying anymore. You just throw simple chords together and then something comes. It's really weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, I found that there's like something right at the end of, it's like squeezing all the juice out, and then the final drop's the best.
There's
I don't
something,
know.
yeah. And
maybe.
will that often come in like a sitting, or is that a process of you sitting down a couple of times going?
Maybe a few sittings. Sometimes
Yeah.
a sitting. Yeah.
Yeah.
Who was telling me that guy Jeff Tweedy from Wilco? He's a sort of maybe not a 9-to-5er, but he would try and write a song in 20 minutes every single morning. Maybe you'd do a few, like 3 or 4 every day or something, and a lot of them would just chuck in the rubbish. But
He's
just,
getting in the
through that persistence. I
Yep.
think there's a lot of that. It's a hard balance between inspiration and persistence. And,
Yeah.
and maybe when they sort of coincide at the opportune moment. But if you don't keep buying a lotto ticket, you'll never win lotto, will you?
No, it's true. It's
Yeah.
very true.
I find it funny though. People like Fiona Apple or whatever, it was a new
love
record
her.
every 6 or 7 years or something like that. What is she doing in the interim? Are the other songs just not good enough, or she just waits for when she gets it? They're always really good.
Just so good.
She's brilliant, yeah.
She's amazing.
But they're a whole nother. I don't know what that process is.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine. I mean, this is speculating, obviously. I couldn't imagine her being particularly diligent and 9-to-5-ish with her writing. I feel like she's a real cathartic writer in my experience of her music.
Yeah,
Like,
that's
as
what
in
it
it's-
seems like. Absolutely.
So it's kind of, maybe she's waiting for that inspiration to come to her to.
Yeah, I'm
rather
not
than
that
work.
type of genius, I've realised. I've come very much to terms with that. So it's more just for me about learning lots and working hard, and that will yield results. I don't have that, like, there are those
I'm the same.
geniuses, that just wait for that thing to come. But yeah, right. You
Yeah, I'm
feel the
definitely
same.
I'm the same. Like, I'm just work.
Yeah, what I've been trying to do is, have numerous projects so that the more songs that I write, I can find homes for them, but with different people.
Yeah,
So
cool.
some stuff would work, potentially for Miami Horror, or for my solo thing that I like to do, or for All the Colours, and then I'm working with another friend of mine at the moment on his project. So there's songs that can go there, and
That's cool.
Yeah,
it's
you
kind of
just-
like a carousel of.
you
just
put them in
keep-
new spots.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
That's smart. I think that, because I reckon most musicians write quite eclectically.
Yeah, I think so, because everyone loves music.
Yeah.
Most musicians love music. Yeah,
Get
and
out.
they'll have their band practice, and they'll write the song. They'll be like, "Oh, that's gay. We can't play that one,"
Yeah.
or something. And it's like, maybe that's your best song, but it's not going to work for you guys totally. But
Yeah,
you don't have to throw it in the rubbish bin. Try and find a home
yeah.
for it. Someone was talking to me about. They haven't done it, I don't think. But imagine if, like when we were doing song hubs with APRA and all of the songs you've written, if there was a website database where you could go and listen to people's songs that they don't want to use, and maybe some of them would fit you perfectly.
That's a great idea.
Yeah, we could share them with each other.
That's a really, really good idea.
I know.
You should follow that through.
Yeah, I don't think I'm going to.
Okay.
But if anyone's
right.
listening,
Yeah.
can they do it? Because, there are, you've got some that you like that you just don't have a home for, that you think could belong to somebody.
Yeah,
And I'm sure they have some for us.
absolutely. That's a really cool idea. Maybe I'll do it.
Yeah, go
Maybe
on.
I'll take it and run with it.
Go, that's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll steal it.
Yeah,
No,
I
it's-
don't think I can ask for 10% on an idea that wasn't really even mine anyway.
Good try.
Yeah, don't expect to get rich from music. Fuck, how is it going to happen? What are we going to do?
I don't know. I don't know.
I know, but you just keep doing it anyway, hoping.
Well,
Hoping and hopes and what is it, thoughts and prayers.
Well, yeah, as Dolly Parton was saying, I think when I saw her live, she's like, there's other ways to be rich, you know.
Yeah, I think if I wanted to be rich, I could do it. Maybe not rich, but I'm sure if you really wanted to make money, there's many ways of doing it.
Yeah.
My dad was telling me about these politicians in New Zealand, or not even politicians, guys that have just climbed up this weird ladder, and he ended up being the head of horse racing in New Zealand, and is not even interested at all. Just some kind of pretty average guy who's getting paid $400,000 a year and they're just working kind of, maybe they're not 9 to 5, maybe they're 8 till 6 or something, but just a bloke working a job, and they're making lots of money. So we could.
You could, yeah, we could totally.
You know, you could if
Would we be
money was all
happy?
you want. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I'd rather do this. Are you optimistic, pessimistic about things that are happening in the world? Is it all over?
I'm mostly optimistic.
Okay.
Yeah, because I think, I obviously have moments of feeling like we're going to the shitter, and that we can't. Nothing can be.
It's beyond.
Yeah.
We've gone too far.
Yeah, that's the point of no return. But
There's a few points of no return, sure. There's a lot of people are going to die, right? But
Yeah.
it doesn't mean it's all over completely.
no,
Yeah.
no. But I think I feel like if you kind of give over to the negative side and all the things that are happening, it would be a very hard place to live in at the moment, especially in the way that we're inundated with information these days. I reckon that I try not to, I'm on social media a bit, but I don't try and I don't read the news every day. In that way I'm a bit ignorant perhaps, and I'm happy to kind of fucking wear that.
I don't want to know.
I don't want to know.
Don't want to know.
Just read it. It's one bad thing after the other.
Well, because it's not that I don't want to know. That's not true. I don't think that that's what we are. I just don't trust the news, and they only tell you bad news.
Yes,
and
yeah.
it's just coming at you constantly, and it's really unhealthy.
Yeah.
So,
no wonder most
yeah.
people are, suffering from mental
Yeah.
anxieties and depression and stuff like that. I think it's if you let it feed you, if you feed into that kind of negativity, then I think it will.
Yeah, if you watch A Current Affair, you start to think lots of baddies that are doing bad things all the time. But there's just a few. There's always been baddies.
Since the dawn of time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I often tell my parents that, I think they're better now, but they used to, because they live in the country. I grew up in Tabletop, which is a place 20 minutes out of Albury, New South Wales, but they will often say, they'll ring me and go, "Did you? There was a some criminal in Melbourne that's on a rampage, and it's almost like they get fed all this news that most of us don't have any idea about.
No, I don't know.
And I'm just like, you got to stop watching that shit, because it's just not. Whilst stuff is going on, it's not.
Yeah. How do you? You got to pick maybe one relatively reputable news source and just look at it a couple of times a week. Maybe that's it.
Yeah.
Watching the news every night seems terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even though you want to keep. I try and read.
But why? We all sort of say like knowing what's going on, but it's like a warped perspective of what's going on a lot of the time as well.
Yeah, so
I don't
why
know.
bother
Maybe I am being a bit ignorant as well, but I don't really. Yeah, I don't believe it as much.
No, that's that's
Yeah.
good. I think
Yeah.
that's a good thing.
Yeah, they're telling porkies.
Yeah. I love that you use that. Where does that come from? My mum says that.
It's English, I think, isn't it?
Telling porkies.
Yeah, fibbing. A lot of fibbers. What do you do when you're not doing music? Do you have any
Yoga.
yoga?
Yeah.
That's your hobby? Would you call it a hobby? It's not useless enough to be a hobby.
I think I am possibly moving into doing my yoga teacher training, and
You're going to become one of those people.
I'm going to become one of those like active wearing people. I've
When did that start? How long?
ages ago.
Right.
Ages ago, my sister lent me a DVD called
DVD that's
Did-
showing the age.
Exactly. This yoga guru called Waylana, and she's like this beautiful. I think she's from the Philippines, and the cover of the DVD was her in like a bright, like rainbow ski suit kind of thing, like a onesie.
Right.
She had a
Very
series
good.
that I used to do, and I just fucking loved it. And then from there, I've just kind of kept on doing it. It's obviously, when you find something that just makes you feel really good in your body, and for some people that's running or walking or whatever. But for me, it was like definitely something that I just kept on coming back to over. So that I've probably been doing it since about 2001.
Oh, right. Okay. Proper long time.
But I'm doing it in the comfort of my own home. I'm not kind of always going to classes or whatever. But I've gotten to the point where my new guru is yoga with Adrienne. I don't know if you've heard of Adrienne Mishler, but she's like a YouTube sensation.
Right. No, I haven't.
She's amazing. She's very good. But I am really inspired about trying to go into a new kind of creative. I think. Yeah, creative kind of realm through yoga. So
what, it sort of get like there's meditative qualities in with it, or not so much? It's just yoga. I don't feel like yoga's meditation really when I have done it.
I feel like there
Maybe is some elements.
I think
of
there
the
are.
breathing and everything.
Depends what type
I guess
you're
that's
doing.
when you're doing it by yourself. When there's the person sort of yelling at me and they played beats. There was nothing meditative about that. That was the place I was going to in LA. It was very frustrating. I hated them.
Yeah, that
I
doesn't
hated
sound like-
everyone there. But I kept begrudgingly going because my body ached and I needed to do it. But people would talk about it. Yeah, it's like it's really soothing and everything. It's like, it's
You're
not
like,
fucking soothing. I hate all these cunts.
It's like you've got to find. I think you've got to find your teacher. Like learning an instrument at school. If your teacher is awesome, then you're going to learn so much, and you're going to kind of get so much out of it. Which I have been lucky to have heaps of experiences like that within music, where my teachers have been like fucking awesome. So I feel like it's just finding the right person to show you. And I mean, like I said, I don't go to classes. I'm on YouTube all the time, just doing it at home, which I love because you just rock up in whatever and do it. But I definitely like that. The reason that I started to kind of do it more and more regularly was just because I found that there was a real connection between me being able to sing better after I'd done.
Right.
Yeah. So there was so that kind of opened up that world a little bit for me, and where I'll try and implement yoga into pre-show and all that kind of thing.
Yeah. Warming up your body always helps you
Makes
sing
sense,
better.
doesn't
I
it?
think that's the main thing.
Yeah, circulation, getting the circulation going. So, yeah, yoga would be, that's my answer.
Okay.
Yeah, but
And
it's not a
that's
hobby. It's probably something that I'll do a bit more of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not. I don't think it's a hobby.
No.
It sounds too serious. You're getting too much out of it for it to be a hobby.
Yeah.
It's got to be more useless.
Cooking. I love cooking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I find most people that I ask this question, it's more just music related. It's like collecting vinyl or buying synthesizers, or no one's really doing much else outside of
it.
music. Yeah.
Yeah. No.
It's like a full-time obsession for most people.
Yeah.
All-encompassing.
Yeah, which is cool. Depends on, each to their own kind of thing. I think
I wanted to talk about your Jeff Buckley obsession, but we might have gone too much.
that's cool.
Maybe
That might be another 2 hours.
Yeah, we might do that off recording.
Yeah.
Thank you, Ainsley. What a pleasure that was. Looking forward to getting together in the studio with her. Hopefully going to make that happen sometime real soon. If you haven't, check out her single, Society. I've attached a link in the podcast description along with a few other bits and pieces. There's an acoustic performance of her single, Running Second. I've attached that there. Yeah, her new record, All You Have Is All You Need, will be out very, very soon. That's what her Instagram seems to tell me. Be sure to get involved. I'm sure it's going to be excellent. Check out all her other work. Love Ainslie. She's really, really badass. All right, I think that's it for episode 43. Back in a few weeks with more stuff. Appreciate you tuning in. Until next time, adios. Take care.